Hello everyone, my name is Victoria Dominguez, and for my topic expansion, I will be talking about how to properly request a leave of absence from work. This topic relates to the course Communication in Professional Settings, as it deals with upward communication, writing formal letters, and conducting meetings. I also thought this topic was interesting since most of us are beginning to apply for formal jobs, and it is important that we understand how to do certain things. The article that I read is How to Request a Leave of Absence from Work by Allison Doyle. A little bit about the author. Allison Doyle is a career and job search expert, known as one of the industry's most highly regarded career experts. She obtained her bachelor's degree from Indiana University and founded CareerToolBot.com. She currently holds a column on TheBalancedCareer.com as a career advice expert, and was recognized as Forbes as one of the top 100 websites for your career. Before we get started, I want to define what a leave of absence is. A leave of absence is an extended period of time away from work in which employment status is maintained. It is usually characterized by being a special circumstance and an agreement between employee and employer. This process of requesting a leave of absence depends on the company you work for, but can be categorized either as formal or informal process. In her article, Doyle describes the 3 steps on asking for a leave of absence. Step 1. Check your eligibility. She explains that it is important that you research your organization's leave of absence policy and determine whether your situation is addressed. Certain companies have guidelines for who is eligible for a leave of absence and how often one can be taken. When doing so, keep in mind that they are not required to give you leave of absence simply because you want one. Leave of absences are classified into 2 types: unpaid leave, which is the most common, and paid leave, which falls under Family Medical Leave Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, and active duty. Step 2 is to explore options for taking a leave. Doyle notes that before you request a leave, it is important to consider how flexible you can be if your employer isn't able to give you the time you requested. She says to consider the following. If a partial leave will allow you to enable your goals, consider reducing hours since it may be more acceptable to your employer, plus you will continue to receive income. Consider a work-from-home arrangement instead of a full leave. In a formal workplace, telecommuting might be ideal. Plan what you'll do after submitting a request. In other words, think about how you will respond if your request is denied. For instance, if your employer denies your leave, will you continue your employment or will you need to resign? Plan your finances prior to filing a request. It is important to know how you will pay your bills without the normal cash flow from your job. And finally, explore the implications to your benefits. Think about how your health and life insurances might be affected. In the article, Doyle stresses that Step 3 is the most important step of all. Step 3 is to provide a request with ample time. This step is very important to your image as a professional since it helps maintain good standing with your workplace. It allows your supervisor to make special arrangements such as training staff to complete your task, hiring staff, and rearranging the work schedule. Providing ample time also allows negotiation of your leave to occur and allows you to complete the entire leave of absence process, which can be very lengthy in some. To summarize Dole's article, the best way to ask for a leave of absence is to start the leave of absence process with your immediate supervisor, since it would be disrespectful to skip them on the chain of command. To outline your request in writing, so your supervisor can fully understand your request before a formal discussion. Schedule a meeting when your boss is the least stressed or overworked to avoid your request being denied right away. Provide your employer with reasonable time prior to your leave in order for the adjustments to be made. To be specific and indicate proximate end dates for leave of absence. Finally, don't provide any legal ultimatums with your initial request, as they can be viewed as unprofessional and might trigger retaliation. And to the right, I have provided a picture of the chain of command, which basically goes from manager to administrative assistant to office manager, then so on. Doyle provided a leave of absence request sample in her article, which can give you an idea of what your letter should include. First of all, it's important that you understand that this template is formatted to be used in formal process. And the template can be found on the right. As you can see, your leave of absence written request should include a sender and receiver with job titles present. Dates should not be abbreviated. It should honor the chain of command. In other words, you should be addressing your direct supervisor. A reason for leave is to be addressed if you're willing to continue on easing your leave, specific dates for leave, and a complimentary clause. Thank you for listening to my topic expansion. I hope you were able to learn from it, and here are my resources.